All right, the recording is started, and this is the August 9th, 2022 Rook Community Meeting. So we will hop on into our milestone checkups and milestone planning. For the 1.8 branch, we don't have any particular upcoming planned patch release, so I think we can maybe just skip right on over that. For 1.9 branch, we had a release back on July 26th that is captured here, and folks can catch up on that. And then we have the 1.9.9 coming up later on this week. So let's then pop into the 1.9 board, and let's go over any important issues that we want to talk about that we will have included in the 1.9.9 release.
Yeah, the patch release plan for this Thursday is really just the kind of on the cadence. This will be about 2.5 weeks, I guess. I don't know of any specific issues to discuss really for 1.9. We do have an NFS test that we need to get re-enabled. Rakshith is working on that. And then the other two in the to-do column, I was looking at them, they're just kind of not urgent for 1.9. Just nice to have if we can track them down and get them backordered. Yeah, so unless somebody else has something to bring up there, I think we're good.
All right, sounds good, Travis. Thanks for the 1.9 update there. And then let's hop into the big one here, the next I always want to say major release because it's like a meaningful one, but technically the semantic version is a minor release. So the next minor,
Yep.
The 1.10 release, that one is coming up over the next couple of weeks as well. So let's dive into that one, since that one's the next important release coming up. So we've got a couple things that are blocking the release that we'll probably want to check in on. And then let's see what else we expect or hope to be making it in for this release by the end of the month.
Yeah, the first one there I put in the blocking release column, hoping to get Go 1.19 support out, and our pattern has been to support the most recent two versions of Go. So 1.18 and 1.19 is what the PR there in progress is. Getting close. The only failure left is it's not building on Mac, which is unusual. I don't think we've ever had that unique failure before. So hopefully we'll get that resolved soon. Get that in. And then the second one is that Shabam's working through getting the Ceph commands working with a Rook operator's cephx keyring instead of client.admin. I think we're getting close. It's just we won't know until it's done. And if it ends up not making the timeline, I'm comfortable with delaying it till 1.11, but still trying to get in for now.
And what's the scope of this one, Travis? Is this like basically all of the operations that the operator will perform for like provisioning and bootstrapping and all sorts of stuff, or what's the scope of this?
So any operation that the operator does, the idea is it would use this new keyring so that in the logs we can see that the operator is doing these operations. Like we'd have another keyring for the toolbox, whatever operations it performs, we'll see, oh, the toolbox did it. And if it's the CSI driver will not be affected. It has its own key rings that it's provisioning volumes with. We're not touching that for now. So we're just touching what the operator keyring is using. And it's still basically an admin keyring, it just has a different name.
Okay, yeah. So it's more for like auditing and like, understanding like who is performing the operations as opposed to like reducing the permission set that the Rook operator has.
Exactly. Like when sometimes the Ceph team will be looking at the logs for the different Ceph daemons, and they just want to know where commands are coming from. Is this an automated thing the operator does, or is it a toolbox thing?
Yeah.
Somebody typed.
That's very reasonable. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. So you're saying you also feel like we'll see where this gets to in terms of delivering on it. Do you think that that's but still blocking the release though, or like we wouldn't hold the release for it?
Right. Yeah, blocking release I'm kind of using as a loose term to say, hey, let's really try and get into the release.
I see.
But I'd say technically it could wait.
Okay,
So
got it. That's understood. All right, any issues that are in progress that need some follow-ups or need some decisions made or support?
from my perspective, we're fine. And if anybody thinks 1.10 should be blocked on any of these other issues, let's get them in the blocking release column too. But generally, I think the other issues could come in a patch release if needed.
Sounds good.
I mean, because we are
Okay.
pretty open to backporting features and patch releases. Some of
yeah,
the
we
big
definitely
changes
continue that.
don't want to.
Yep. That's okay. That sounds good. Any other comments then on 1.10 specifically?
I'm back on the dates there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to.
Yeah, the last meeting we talked about, actually a week earlier than those dates indicate. After talking to the CSI team, so their CSI 3.7 release is planned for August 18th, which would have been like the day after or the day of our proposed release. So I thought, okay, let's move it back a week to give us time to test on the new CSI, give us a little buffer space. And I haven't heard any pushback or concern from that updated time frame, but that's the new plan. So August 25th is the target.
Nice. So then do you think that like in terms of cutting a bit the beta one here, doing the release branch and going along with the release candidates here, would this then is expected to include this bump here? So it's kind of the day after. So we'll get that CSI 3.7 dependency and have that as part of the release candidate here.
Yeah, that's my expectation. If CSI does get delayed, I propose we still go ahead and branch and start testing upgrades and things. But for final testing, we'll need that 3.7 in before we get the final release.
Yep. Cool. That sounds fine to me. All right. So we've got the timeline here for getting the 1.10 release out. We got a plan here for what we'll do with this dependency on this CSI plugin update. We'll keep on executing on that. All right, sweet. So we can move on then from milestones and releases and move on to the community topics. So I will click on this issue here about the Ceph manager consistently crashing.
Yeah, that one we brought up in the last meeting as well. I just want to follow up. As of the last meeting, 17.2.2 was the latest Ceph release, and it basically didn't work with Rook. The manager consistently crashed. But now .3 is out. They released it pretty quick, and the fix is in there. We just can't recommend to use 17.2.2 since it's broken. So that's all for that, really.
Got it. And what's Travis, the latest 1.9 release? What is the version of Ceph that will be installed by default or used by default?
So unless Ceph has another patch release, it'll be 17.2.3.
Okay, perfect. Great.
Yeah. And then as Ceph releases its patch releases, we just make that the default generally for the latest Rook release. Yep.
That's great. All right, so 17.2.3, which will be functional. Perfect. All right, then that's good. Thanks for the follow-up on that from the last meeting then. All right, and then let's move on to our plugin, our Cube Control plugin for using the Crew Package Manager.
Yeah, I just want to highlight a couple of cool features we've got that Shubham has worked on the first one and Parth on the second one. Shubham, you're here, right? Do you want to summarize the cluster health status change?
Yeah, sure. So we are basically adding this kubectl Rook Ceph health command, which will basically get the status of overall cluster. For example, like what is the COM state, and if we have at least 3 mons running on different node, and similar for the OSDs. And also we'll check if like the PGs are active and clean and or not. and we have at least one manager pod up and running. We are like in future we are planning to add more like commands, more checks like that inside the health command. So, but for now we have this checks only, and we have this nice cool coloring thing which will give a user idea like how severe their like warnings or error is. If it is a green or blue, it is like kind of logging and healthy, and warning is kind of like you should look at those errors, and red means cluster is in critical state, so something like that. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's exciting. And after we get this crew plugin released in the next few days or whatever it is, it'd be good to update our issue template as well in Rook to say, hey, please run this command to help us troubleshoot issues.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice.
So once this is, we are waiting for the next PR that Path is working on, and once that is released, we will have a new plugin release, and then we will add the documentation on the Rook repo that okay, please add the logs from this, and like this command will help them debug. So,
Mhm.
Does the output is there support for like a machine parsable, machine readable output, like a JSON or output from this and also?
yeah, we can have a JSON output too. So if you but in the health command we don't have any uh, self commands or any check that prints in JSON format. But if we have something, we can add that.
Yeah,
You were speaking
it's
on
an
me.
interesting question though, because we've got all sorts of commands printing out status here. I mean, you'd end up with a bunch of different JSON blobs if we output in JSON. So anyway, something to think about. But for now, I'd say it's just bash parsing.
Cool, got it.
Yeah, if you
Okay,
don't
and
do
then
JSON, then you really need to go to the Ceph API direct. It's a lot easier.
Right.
yeah,
That's it.
got it.
Do that.
All right. And then here's another feature that we wanted to highlight as well for the plugin.
Yeah, Parth, you want to talk about the debug pods?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, we are like trying to add a debug mode for the Rook operator and also downstream like the ODF operator. So what does debug mode does is like whenever like the cluster is in the bed state, where the mons and OSDs are in the crash loop backup state, or like there are some network issues or something, and we want like so we can try to debug the cluster. So there is a debug command that has been added with this crew plugin, and we just go and run that debug command, and a debug deployment will be created for the particular mon or OSD that we have passed, and user can use the Ceph tools on that debug deployment. Like there are various Ceph tools that we have, the Ceph object store tool or the Ceph blue store tool. So basically what does these tools does is like we can manipulate the data over the mons and etc, like mons or OSDs, or like the like if you want to change anything specific, so we can recover from the state that we are on. So basically the debug mode does the things like it automates the process for the user for debugging, if we say it in easy terms. Yeah, it also does some more hacks. Yeah, like uh, stop reconciling over the particular pods. Like first, currently, if we are using the Ceph tools directly, we need to make the Rook operator down. But in this case, we just go and skip the reconciles over these pods that we are there, and the other reconciliation can be done as it is. Yep. Any thing that you want to know or I can tell about the debug mode?
Yeah, I'll just highlight that this will be really nice. It's been a common request really for a long time as far as Yeah, I need to run this OSD object store tool on the OSD while it's down. Well, how do you do that in the pod? So the pod is running with the OSD, but this just creates a pod exactly for that purpose, scales down the original one and creates a new one. But anyway, good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Barth. Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, so that's everything I think for the Cube Control plugin. And so let's move on to KubeCon about any update for you Red Hat folks being able to be in attendance.
Yeah, I'll start with that. So for KubeCon, travel policy allows us to be there and budget and everything if we're speaking. So that's not the challenge. There's other challenges. Something came up for me. I'm not able to make it, unfortunately. So I think others can speak to if they can make it. But if we don't get sufficient speaker attendance, we'll just do virtual one more time, and then hopefully the next one we can make it work. Where is it? I think the next one is Amsterdam, is what Amy just said the other day. So yeah, Mike Perez said he would plan on attending, and he's even ordering some shirts so we can get some decent swag handed out.
Nice.
So I'm not sure how much support we'll have for him. Anybody else have an update on attending?
Besides as written on Slack, I hope to have a response till Wednesday. But so far it's looking good. So
Looking good. Okay, so likely you'll be there.
it will be very likely.
Okay.
So it just needs a
Nice.
last green light, and
Blaine, how about you?
Sounds good.
I'm still figuring that out as well.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, I should be there myself. Got a maintainer track talk for the Crossplane project. So I should be in Detroit as well.
All right, sorry, I'll miss y'all. It's always better to be in person.
Yeah, definitely. One of these days, Travis. One of these days.
I know, right? Yep. Okay, I guess that's all for KubeCon.
Awesome. And then do we do we need to send an update then, or finalize the response about how we want to do the talk, if we want to do it virtual or in person? That needs to be finalized with the planners.
Yeah, it still needs to be finalized. I've got an email flagged to plan on that as soon as we confirm who will be there or if we'll do it virtual.
Got it.
I need to
Cool.
look at the date on or the deadline for that decision, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Awesome. All right, so that's everything that was on the agenda items then. Anybody else have anything on that they want to add before we adjourn?
Just a quick update on the PR that I was working on. That was in the blocking section of 1.9. I was just testing locally, and now it is working fine. I tested the output, like if maybe or like someone can get some idea from the output. So I'm using the client .rook operator keying and not the client admin. So locally it is working now. Let's I've updated the PR.
Oh, so that was in the upgrade scenario. It's working now.
Yes, so I first had the cluster with master version and then I changed the version to my local, and yeah, it is.
Oh, cool. Nice to hear. So we're hopefully close on that PR now.
Nice, yeah, good update. That's great. All right. Well, then if that's everything, then we can go ahead and adjourn for the week and follow up with each other on Slack.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
but